Hi guys, welcome to the Overdrive Digital Show. I see we've kept a few of you waiting and you're very disappointed with us, but hey, we do mention on each of our social media posts that it's 6 p.m. live every Friday. So bear with us. And about the link, Kapur, we have to set it in advance when we have guests. You need to check their frames and audio check and all, which is why we start our links early. So please bear with us. Anyway, in a few minutes from now, as I mentioned, we'll be joined by Mr. Tarun Garg of Hyundai India. He'll be here to answer all of your questions about today's hottest launch, the new 6 and 7-seater Alcazar. So key in those questions in the comment section and stay tuned for the answers. We'll start the show with an exclusive story. Some of you may have already joined us 2 days ago to watch the premiere of the Mercedes-Maybach GLS 600 review. For those of you who haven't, here's an abridged version.
Mercedes-Benz is known to make some of the best luxury sedans in the business, and that shows in how their saloons continue to outsell every other luxury car in the Indian market. Now that is a big feat, but at the same time, I think the timing is great to say that the sky is the limit for luxury SUVs, because you see, in the upper tiers of the SUV spectrum, the luxury brands have found a way of affixing their esteemed emblems on high-riding automobiles. And the latest to join that fancy fair is the Mercedes-Maybach GLS 600. And at least for the Indian audience, it is not just another pricier variant of the standard car. And that is because most of the newish technology that left us baffled on the new GLS but never came to India is standard on the Maybach GLS. I've often seen customers walk into a luxury car dealership and buying the car of their choice in a heartbeat, but in the color and specification that is available with the dealer. With the Maybach GLS, however, you don't want to make an impulsive buy that might make you feel shortchanged later. This is the kind of car that you don't pick from an inventory. It's the kind of car that you personalize to suit your taste. There's an elevated joy in choosing the paints, the materials, the finish. Think of it as something as therapeutic as customizing your abode. But also remember, only your guests can see the kind of choices or the kind of customizations that you've made inside your home. But with a car of this order, the whole world sees what your taste is. It's a rolling advertisement of your wealth and celebrity status. The Maybach GLS wears a three-pointed star on the hood like the old times. And despite its position, this car ensures a high degree of pedestrian safety. It has the same wheelbase as the standard GLS, but the two-tone paint and the vertically slatted grille makes the Maybach appear a size larger. In fact, it is 31mm wider on paper. Some might classify all the chrome and shine to be bling, but on the road, it fits well with the aura of the Maybach GLS. These multi-beam LEDs are adaptive, of course, which means they will auto-level, they'll also illuminate a corner or road shoulders as per your steering angle. And that's not all. Because these are the adaptive type, they'll also adapt the illumination to either highlight all the hurdles in the road for you or reduce the glare for the oncoming traffic. And they also work exceptionally well on our B roads and highways. Adding further function and form to the Maybach's poise are the beautiful wheel choices. And while the Maybach hubcap will rotate with the wheel, if you know you know, these massive wheels contribute to making the Maybach 15mm taller than the standard GLS. The insides hold very limited resemblance to the standard GLS, like the two screens and the squarish vents. Like the exterior, even the cabin is draped in different colors and material choices. The feeling of stepping into this cabin is quite overwhelming. Now, because this is not a three-row SUV like the standard GLS, you get 93mm more space here in the second row. And as you would expect, you also get all the opulence that you would want from this badge. The seats can give first-class airline seating a run for its money. Sure, it can't lay flat for you to nap, but offers extremely comfortable seating and support for all your hind muscles. And what more could you ask for? There's every possible setting that you would like. You have two screens for all your entertainment. You have these pillows for additional luxury. You have these head pillows as well. And in terms of the seating, all the adjustments that you expect are right here. From the reach to the 43-degree recline to even setting the intensity of the bolstering. You can customize all of that. The seats are complemented further by individual trays for work or snacks, and the latter is complemented even further with a refrigerator for the Dom Perignons, their shovels and the chateaux, and holders for shiny champagne flutes. An elevated cradle wirelessly charges your phone, and another embedded cradle holds the Samsung tablet that works as a remote control for the windows, sunroof, blinds, media, and the 64-color ambient lighting. The Burmester audio not only sounds fabulous, but it also helps towards negating the road and the powertrain noises that could creep inside the cabin, and that makes for a quieter cabin experience. So luxury is completely taken care of. As for the seats, the rear seats as well as the front get a heating, cooling as well as a massaging function. So no matter which seat you're seated in, there is enough luxury in each and every corner of this car. The familiar two-screen setup from the GLS runs a similar MBUX OS and NTG6 telematics too, but there are some additional features embedded deep within the menus. Like the car wash mode, for example, which when enabled will automatically raise the vehicle, fold the mirrors, turn off the parking sensors, the rain sensors, so the headlamps won't go on, the wipers won't go on. It will also automatically roll up all windows, shut the sunroof, so that the water doesn't enter the car. If you want to beat the convention and don't mind scratching the expensive paint, the Maybach GLS can very well venture off the beaten path even with its fancy shoes. Between them and the chassis is the state-of-the-art suspension, which is controlled by the quick 48-volt electrical system. Called the Electronic Active Body Control, or the EABC, this function can not only adjust the damping and the compression at different corners of the car, it can also raise one particular wheel if the need be to get over a hurdle. Also, you can use the function to rock the car if you need, get into off-road mode, get into the off-road assist, get into free driving mode, and the car can start rocking like a lowrider. Now this is of course a very cool feature and a conversation starter, but it finds its use in the real world if you are stuck in a sticky situation like maybe sand, slush, and you want to rock the car out of that. This will come in handy. In the real world, the progress of this suspension translates to an exceptionally cushy ride. Using the front-facing camera and radars, the big Maybach can detect most of the speed humps as well. Mercedes-Benz doesn't make motorcycles, but they have mastered the art of making some of their cars lean into corners to counter roll. The Maybach GLS with the EABC is the latest example of that feature. The motivation for this car comes from a 4-liter V8 made by AMG, and honestly, I've never heard an engine that has come out of a Falterbach and is this silent. Now this engine will feather out about 560 PS of power and 730 Newton meters of torque, and I say feather out because it never wants to overwhelm the occupants of this cabin. To that effect, the car features the Maybach driving mode, which flattens the acceleration curve, tones down the vibrations and noise levels even further, and shifts earlier to avoid the slightest transmission shock. Now the EQ boost function from that 48-volt mild hybrid system will add another 21 PS and 250 Newton meters for situations that need you to take off or even pull overtakes. Now this kind of torque fill or additional torque and power that's available from the system will essentially ensure that there are no unwanted jerks or sudden surges of power. Now this car is a conversation starter by itself, but to garnish that torque further when you're talking performance, it can go from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. That's tested figures. The aforementioned EQ boost also contributes towards reducing emissions and improving fuel economy. The gearbox works efficiently as well, and even in the sport mode, its aggression is restricted to the engine bay. It puts power down discreetly via the 4MATIC all-wheel drive, and even around the bends, the system works efficiently without much understeer. The powertrain is aided further by radar-guided assistance like adaptive cruise control, automated braking assist, collision detection, blind spot warning, etc. Now these radar-guided systems don't just work surprisingly well in India, they also work surprisingly well in conditions like these where it's foggy, where it's rainy. Another nice function of the radar-guided system is the lane keep assist, which will not only help the car maintain its lane autonomously, but will also pull the car back into the lane to avoid collision if you attempt to change lanes when someone is in your blind spot, which in India is usually always. Priced at about 2.43 crore ex-showroom, I think it's priced extremely well. It in fact has an excellent value proposition for the kind of kit that it offers. At the same time, it also presents itself as a more practical alternative to the Maybach S-Class. Now, I don't know what to make of a very important statistic that Martin Schwenk, the top boss at Mercedes-Benz India, has told us. Most owners of the Maybach GLS in India are in the age group of 40 to 45. Am I stuck in the wrong profession then?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. As I mentioned, this is just a shorter version of the longer review. You can check the longer story out on our YouTube channel. Just 50 units of the Maybach GLS were allocated for India this year. And guess what? All of them are already sold out. In fact, bookings for the next year's batch has already opened up. Let's bring Bert and Rohit on the show to hear what they have to say about this.
Hello, Sohini.
What do I have to say about this?
Hi,
What I have to say about
Hi,
the Maybach being all sold out, 150 units being booked up already.
50, Bert, 50.
So,
50 sold
man,
out, yeah.
that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I think in the earlier one, somewhere they mentioned about 150 units. I guess that's where the confusion is. But yeah, someone said 50 units. But whatever it is, whatever number of units it is, having them all sold out at 2.2 CR, it's just ridiculous. I mean, not that the car is exorbitantly priced. I guess, I mean, when you consider the GLS is almost up to about 1 crore of rupees for the standard version. When you add that Maybach badge, it only elevates it to a whole new level, that comfort, luxury. Rohit, you're the lucky dog who got to see all of this and enjoy this. And I haven't actually sat in that car. But Mercedes-Benz just promised me that they're going to send the car to Bombay just so that I can sample it at least for a day and just see what that opulence is all about. Get a sense of what the GLS Maybach represents. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I envy you right now.
Bert, you definitely need to spend some time with that car. I can vouch for it. And we have experienced luxury SUVs before, but Mercedes, Benz, and Maybach adding their own touch to the entire genre. It does take it to a different level because it's not just about the materials; they are also bringing all the technology that we really love with the GLS. And the 2.43 price tag, I was speaking to Mercedes-Benz and some of the dealers. So the 2.43 crore rupee price tag, very frankly, is only to lure the customers to the showrooms. When you start picking it up, it can go all the way up to 4.1 crore. So, that's the level of options available. That's the level of customization that's available. So from 2.43, it can go all the way to 4.1 crore. That's huge. I mean, I'm intrigued to see, what kind of customization.
Customization is such a how would I say it? It's such an interesting ball game because I remember once when I'd gone to Rolls-Royce's factory in England and I'd gone visit them and they had talked about customization programs and it ranges from the absolutely ostentatious to the absolutely ridiculous. Okay, just to cite an example, and so that all of you guys watching out there know what we're talking about. And I'm not mentioned these things, in public spaces earlier, but there was one particular Rolls-Royce Phantom where the owner, the customer, some Middle Eastern princess wanted to kind of customize it for her, and she wanted the veneer on the interiors of a particular color, and or was it the body color? I don't remember exactly, but on the two veneers or the exterior body color, and she wanted it to match the color of her nail polish, right? And it was some really expensive, exotic nail polish that she wasn't willing to part with. She just wouldn't give it to the head of sales at Rolls-Royce because that person comes individually himself. The head of sales goes to that person and sells the Rolls-Royce Phantom. I mean, that kind of a family. So what she did instead was painted his nails with that color. And he flew from the Middle East all the way back to UK with his nails painted that same shade of color. And they matched the color in the factory and then painted the car with that same color, exact same color. So you hear of some fascinating stories like this. There was another customer who apparently came with a suitcase full of diamonds and wanted them embedded in the dashboard panel of the Rolls-Royce Phantom. So that kind of just raise the price of the car to a whole new level. I mean, you take about a 6 crore or 7 crore Phantom and then you add a whole set of diamonds onto it. I can't imagine the amount of money. But here's the interesting part. The last few weeks, or the last couple of months for that matter, we've seen a number of launches in the luxury premium space. And in Mercedes-Benz's case, for instance, whether it was the S-Class or whether it was the GLS, Maybach right now, the minute they launched the car, they also announced that the first lot has already been sold out. Can you imagine just what kind of a situation is that? I mean, we're in a world where there are people, yes, who are struggling today, but there is another set of people, and we need equally both of these ends of society that we need in today. Is that those people out there have already bought up the S-Class or the Maybach, and there's a waiting list. There's a queue of people lined up to buy the next lot, and probably the third lot and the fourth lot, and so on and so forth. It's just amazing to see the kind of demand some of these cars have.
We'll move on from Maybach discussion though, and just remind our audience that very soon to join us. So you do know that the Alcazar was launched just earlier today at 16.30 lakh rupees. That's in fact the introductory pricing. So if you have any questions regarding it, just jot them down, and we will be asking him online. We'll go through a couple of questions though right now. Apurva Rohit said that rocking lowrider feature on the Mercedes is madly ridiculous though. Do you agree?
I wouldn't quite agree. I mean, yes, unfortunately, the only videos that most people have seen right now of this particular function with this particular car is in that lowrider mode, or people literally making the car dance to some rap music and stuff like that. But the real application of this function, of course, is to rock the car out of a tricky situation like maybe sand, slush. And we have tried this function on the GLS, the regular GLS, not the India spec one, of course. But when we sampled the car for the first time at Utah in the US, we did rather Mercedes-Benz organized for one.
I think we lost your audio, Rohit. Rohit, we lost your audio, but I just tell people, of course, it's not just the GLS. I think the GLE also, the hip hop edition. It's a similar feature that they offer in that, and this is effectively an off-road feature where the car is able to rock itself out of some tricky situation, maybe mild slush or sandy situations in the desert. In the desert, so if you get stuck in the sand, you can just rock yourself out of that situation, because as the car keeps bouncing around on either wheels, the sand collects under the tire, and you've effectively got better traction, or you cannot dig yourself out of the mess you got yourself into in the first place. So it is a fairly, useful feature, something quite unique, and not many offer it, but it does come in handy.
Alright, we have a question here from Anvish. He wants to know, now that the GLS and X7 are in full force in India, which according to you is more compelling to buy and why? He's asking because and the general mass market models, that is the 400D and the X-Drive 300D.
Well, I would suggest that you're looking at different cars. You're looking at the X7, which is slightly coupe-ish kind of a, it is appeal. But the GLS is a full-fledged 7-seater SUV. So you've got the space, enormous wheelbase, enormous amounts of space inside the car, great ride quality, great comfort, great list of features also for that matter. The X7, little more dynamically tuned in that sense. So if you want a better handling car, something that really feels nice to drive, if you've got the twisties, then the X7 probably is what you would go in for. If not, what you're looking at is comfort and something to move around in style, in luxury, in opulence, then the GLS is where it's at. And of course, don't forget, like I said, 3 rows of seats that you've got. Everybody in the family can find a seat inside that SUV comfortably. So premium luxury 7-seater, the GLS is the car to pick.
Alright, Delta Bravo wants to know, when do you think the W223 S-Class CKD model, when will it be in India and at what price?
When do you think the new W223 S-Class CKD will come and at what price? Well, for the W223, you'll have to wait for a while because right now what Mercedes is doing is just CV operation for the S-Class. So we see they will announce this in time. In due course, this will come down as well. They will start producing the cars. Keep in mind they were trying to do this in the past as well, and they will offer this I think very shortly. Give or take about I would say about 6 months before all of this can happen. Keep in mind right now a lot of production, a lot of how would I say it? A lot of these allotment, the cars that come in to India from European manufacturers, especially, are all delayed simply because of that semiconductor shortage. And why nobody's really talking about it? It is a severe shortage. It is affecting industry plans. It is affecting industry the product rollouts. So this is one of the reasons, I guess, why they would be kind of deferring all of this to a later stage in time when they have enough of kits to come down to India.
All right, we have a question here from Lazy Wanderer. The XUV 500 is on its way out. Can you see the question on the screen? And it will soon be replaced by the 700, and prices will go up too. Quite convenient for the Alcazar, I feel, though they aren't in the same segment.
Well, they're kind of in the same segment. Not that they aren't in the same segment. They will somewhat find themselves competing against each other. Pricing for that, of course, also will be similar, I guess, to the Alcazar, which honestly, I mean, we'll come down to the pricing bit while we'll be talking to Tarun Garg about it, because definitely some of the questions are being asked about the pricing for the Alcazar. But they will go head to head. They will be competing for similar mind space, for similar set of customers for that matter. Except that the XUV 700 when it comes out, maybe a little bit differently styled. We don't entirely know what it will look like in the flesh, but seeing from their past experiences, I believe that they will be somewhat the dynamic flair that you will see in their products. Also, keep in mind, Ghosh Pratap has gone to head their design center in UK. So, in the future, while we may not see some of the extravagance that we've seen on Tata Motors cars, that matter, I think there will be a slightly different approach that Pratap Bose will take at Mahindra, and of course make them look fairly interesting. I'm quite interested to see just what his take is on Mahindra's product portfolio, because Mahindra's product portfolio is largely SUVs, strong, dominant, with a lot of character. And let's hope he can carry that forward for Mahindra as well, and not kind of soften it and give it the more stylized, elegant look that he did with the Tata Motors in their cars.
All right, but we'll take one last question before we go into the interview. Rupik wants to know, what do you suggest, or what's your point of view when it comes to buying a Skoda Superb? Do you guys think of any other car, or someone should just go ahead and buy it? What's your take on its ground clearance?
Well, I think if you're worried about ground clearance, you shouldn't look at any sedan. Certainly not look at any premium or luxury sedan. What you ideally want is a crossover. Maybe wait for the Kodiaq to come out. It will come out very soon with the 2-liter TSI, or get yourself the Tiguan All Space, or maybe wait for the new Tiguan to come out. So the 5-seater to come out. But if you're looking at a sedan space, you don't really have to worry about the ground clearance, because yes, on our road conditions, all sedans at some point of time are going to scrape their underbelly, and that's the same case for the Superb as well. Now, if you were to purely look at the Superb, there's literally nothing around it that offers you that kind of space, that kind of imposing design. It's a one of a kind in that sense. The only other car that you can look at is the more sensible buy that everyone seems to be talking about, which is the Camry. It's got a hybrid powertrain. That's the only other sensible buy that you can look at. And when I use the word sensible again and again, that's because it's a little bit more practical. It is a hybrid powertrain after all. It doesn't look maybe as outlandish as some would have thought, but at the same time, it's not as sober as what we've known of Toyotas. So if that appeals to you, that's the only other option. There is no Passat at the moment. So this Superb, if you want that German engineering, if you want that European sedan, the European feel, this is your only option at the moment in this particular space.
All right, as we take a break.
Very quickly, I think a question that's come up on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And this is from Ankit Nema, who asked us, how do you see the EV infrastructure developing in India? As of now, only 3 options are available. Ankit, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by the three options available, but the way it goes is a lot of independent players will come into this space as well. There are already several more than just the three who are offering charging options for now. And this will expand. There will be more and more players who will come into this. Of course, three larger players who will of course, provide the power and provide the electricity will be the two or three who are there dominantly. But otherwise, it will be several other players who are coming into this space. In fact, we've just received, for instance, a home charging unit from ABB, and thanks to Audi, who've been very gracious, who've been very kind to send us a charger to set up so that all future EVs that are coming into the market. I mean, we've now got a dedicated place where we can charge these cars and test them and evaluate them. So, big thank you to Audi for that. But having said that, there will be a lot of players who will come up in the next few years. You will notice all of this. Now, what we've seen though, is that while there are still a lot of applications that offer you information about where can you go, what kind of setup is, what kind of infrastructure setup is in place, where is it available. The big challenge also here is that a lot of these places now, last week, for instance, we were supposed to get the iPace. I was supposed to do the story on that, but unfortunately I didn't, and I had to let Simran do that simply because I had nothing in terms of charging infrastructure within a radius of about 10 kilometers of my house here in Bombay. So that sort of kind of offsets or rather really upsets me because if I have an EV today and EVs are being sold in the market, I don't expect to only be able to charge it at home. What happens if I'm out somewhere and and I do need charge? Where do I go? It is difficult, it is challenging at this point in time. Now, will this state of affairs improve over time? It will. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see a lot more action in this space simply because there are a lot more manufacturers coming out with EVs as well. Both in the luxury space and in the more affordable spaces, you will see a lot. There's Maruti who's coming in with something, there is Toyota who tends to come out with something, there is Mercedes-Benz, and there is who's already got a product. There's Audi who's coming up with the e-tron, Jaguar has just introduced the iPace, so on and so forth. There are lots of other players who are coming into this space and introducing EVs. It's not just the cars for that matter, it's also the two-wheelers. There are far more two-wheelers and choices available. Ather is expanding its footprint across the country. Revolt is expanding its footprint across the country. Okinawa is already there. There are so many of these guys who are already present in the EV space. So yes, infrastructure will start developing and faster as the years go by. So I think within the next 2 years, we should definitely see a lot more action in the infrastructure space. But fingers crossed, I don't, at this point of time, I cannot say, or rather, I'm not very confident about what that state of infrastructure will be like.
All right, but we have Mr. Tarun Garg who's ready to join us on the show. So, Rohit and I will take your leave. On to your word.
Good evening, everyone. And well, today was the launch of the Hyundai Alcazar, and it was introduced. The Alcazar, of course. Let me just tell you a little bit more about it. It's based on the Hyundai Creta. It's a three-row configuration SUV, and to do that, Hyundai extended the wheelbase of the Creta, and of course, gave it a lot of changes for that matter, in the chassis, redoing the suspension, reworked a little bit on the engine, and then added in a host of features. Of course, there were also exterior and interior detail changes that kind of made it look a little significantly different from what you've seen on the Creta for that matter. So don't just assume that this is a longer Creta, but there are some very interesting questions coming our way. Again, Hyundai introduced this starting off. The prices started off at 16.3 for the Prestige version, a 7-seater version, which means you've got a rear bench, a middle bench, and 2 individual captain seats at the front. There is also a 6-seater version with just 2 seats on the front, 2 seats individual captain seats in the middle row, and 2 individual seats which look like a bench on the third row. Now, with the wheelbase extension, there's been a lot more space liberated inside the car. That means the third row passengers get enough of legroom. Sat inside the car when we did the first look of this in Rajasthan. And it was quite impressive. Quite happy with the way the space is. Not just that, I'm happy with the way features have been placed and provided for the third row passengers. So I think larger families will appreciate this. I do also believe that there is a very, very good market for something of this sort for an SUV that was a 7-seater SUV in space. But here to talk to us today, we've got Tarun Garg, who I'm not sure if he's got him online. Oh, yeah, there he is. Hi, Tarun.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. And congratulations, one more product from Hyundai in 2021, and a fairly exciting one at that as well.
Yeah, we're very excited. We are entering a new segment, so kind of thing. We want to really create this segment and bring back the excitement in the Indian auto market post the COVID too specifically.
No, absolutely. I think it's essential at this point in time to get newer products, to enthuse the consumers out there.
Apologies, I believe we've lost Bert. Okay, I think he's trying to join back on the conversation.
Hello. Tarun,
Challenges
I'm
of a
back.
live show. Sorry.
Hi, Tarun, back here. I'm so sorry about that network issues, of course. So yeah, so let me get down to the questions that we had for you, of course, and essentially the pricing. There's a lot of comment coming up, and I've seen this on social media as well. And of course, I was also one of those to kind of gasp. I wouldn't say gasp, but to be a little surprised at seeing the pricing for the Alcazar, which seemed to be a little premium to us. Have we lost Tarun or have we got him?
No, very much here.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, I can't see your screen, but yeah. So Tarun, what was the idea behind pricing this at a premium space, or rather slightly above the Creta? Were you trying to make room for more products under this? What exactly is the strategy with this price?
But so this is interesting, and I like to explain the trim strategy that we have followed for the Alcazar. So based on market research, we could very clearly see that this Alcazar, this segment of customer, is really not wanting to compromise on anything. So normally when you launch a product, you have a basic trim, a no frill kind of a trim. But we didn't think that this customer really deserved that kind of a product. So basically, when you see the Alcazar, we have a three trim strategy: the Prestige, the Platinum, and the Signature. And all the trims have some features like Blue Link. The
Yeah.
sunroof, the panoramic voice-enabled sunroof is there in every variant. Similarly, the LED headlamps is there in every variant. Of course, the safety features like ESC, vehicle stability management, hill assist control is there. Then the 10.25-inch infotainment system that is across the three trims. So what we're trying to do is basically this customer, we know that he's not going to compromise, and that is why there is no so-called base trim. And we are starting with the Prestige trim, which is actually very good enough, for so many customers. And just to share with you, I think this strategy seems to have worked, because out of the 4,000 odd bookings that we have received, it's a 33 kind of a mix between Prestige, Platinum, and Signature, which very clearly shows that customers have really appreciated this kind of a strategy. Because normally when you have a base trim, you have maybe 5% or 7% of the demand coming in. But no, here 33. So I think it's really working well, because this is clearly a product in the premium segment, and you have to take the customer expectations in mind when you are introducing the trims.
So what was the thought process? I mean, of course you saw the demand. I'm sure for a seven-seater SUV. But what is the actual market? Could you just explain to us what the market dynamics are with the seven-seater SUV space? Because there aren't too many players in this space right now. What exactly is happening over here?
So yes, you're right. This is a space, and this is what I frankly love about it, because we have the whole field to ourselves. We have to actually create the market. And if you see the history, of the Indian auto, since the time Hyundai came in, whether it was the Santro with the tall boy, whether it was the i20 with a premium hatch, whether it was the Creta with a mid-size SUV, we have always believed in really creating segments. And this is what we believe, that Alcazar, the time is right, because the customer is actually evolving. And we could see from our market research that there are many customers who are really looking to travel together, either with their families or with their friends. And they are really looking for versatility in the car. They are looking for, sometimes 6 members or 7 members traveling. And each member traveling should have a comfort. I think that is very important. And that is what we have tried to do. If you see the product, when you see the six-seater, we have a wireless charger for the captain seats. We have a tray, where you can keep your iPad and or a tablet and really do your work. We have an exclusive AC for the third row as well. So what I'm trying to say is, we have really tried to make sure that the product is comfortable for all the occupants of the car, and and that is what is the great thing about it. The second aspect is this strategy of petrol and diesel, and that also seems to have worked. The bookings are 55% for diesel and 45% for petrol. So very clearly, two segments are emerging. Some customers who really want a good fuel efficiency, and Alcazar provides them with a 20.4 kilometers fuel efficiency, which is extremely good. And they're looking for a higher torque, higher initial torque. So they're going for diesel. Then there's a 2-liter new petrol engine, which really gives them, that kind of a petrol excitement. So to manage that. So I think, again, the fuel strategy seems to have worked. Similarly, 6-seater and 7-seater, 60% for 6-seater, 40% for 7-seater, 50% for automatic, 50% for manual. So what I'm trying to say is that every variant, every trim, every fuel type seems to really bring in volumes rather than just there for the heck of it. I think that is the key about Alcazar trim and pricing strategy.
Right. So Tarun, given Hyundai's history also, you at no point in time have you had as diverse a range of SUVs as you do presently in the market, starting off from the Venue, going up to the Creta, now the Alcatraz, Alcazar, sorry, and going further ahead, will you also be adding the next generation Tucson, the next generation Santa Fe, the next generation or the new Palisade? You've seen some very exciting SUVs coming out from Hyundai in global markets as well. And there is a lot of interest about some of these products coming down to India. I do understand the fact that numbers aren't really encouraging, and they haven't been very encouraging in the past for some of these SUVs because they're competing against German brands or European brands for that matter. So it's a very, very tough decision. But do you believe that Hyundai can further move up market as well and get some of these more premium SUVs into the market also?
So yes, but India is on the cusp of SUV revolution, and already the market is 35% SUVs. Who would have imagined? Just about 5 years back, you were at 13%. Just about 2 years back, you were at 25%, and now we are at 35% SUVs. So now Alcazar is the 5th SUV, and it really completes the range. Like you said, Venue, the Creta, now the Alcazar. Of course, we have the Tucson, and of course the Kona Electric as well. So I think the range is complete. At the same time, we have a very strong parent in Hyundai Motor Company, and we fully understand and appreciate that there are so many products to really choose from. So we continue to do our market research, and you would have seen that last 2 years have seen almost 11-12 products coming from the Hyundai Motor India stable. So rest assured, we are always on the lookout for any opportunity that comes, and as and when we feel yes, the market is right, there's a demand, and we are right to have the product at the right price, why not? We will definitely be looking at all kinds of products to be launched in the Indian market.
All right. So there's a query here from a viewer, and who's asking us why did Hyundai not get a 7-seater variant of the Alcazar? That's in the top variant for that, in the petrol variant. Why is there only a 6-seater option in here?
Look, now there are so many variants and there are so many combinations. Frankly speaking, this is a big challenge, how to manage the variants. Sometimes I get a feedback that Hyundai has too many variants to confuse the customer. So this is but rest assured, look, this is the introduction, and we will continuously take feedback from the market. In case we feel there is a demand for a particular variant, why not? I mean, we'll go ahead and relook at it. At the same time, I would say, if you see the portfolio, there are enough choices: manual, automatic, 6-seater, 7-seater, petrol, diesel. So you would definitely find something of your choice. At the same time, if we had gone for all combinations, probably it would have resulted in maybe 25, 30, 40 combinations, which is very, very difficult to manage, to produce, to keep inventory, and only results in more confusions and more problems. So I think sometimes you have to make a call. Okay, in our estimate, this we thought would be, these are the variants which would really cater to, most of the demand.
Another question that came up also was, do you feel that the Alcazar could kind of cannibalize sales for the Creta, where people would now want to move upmarket to the Alcazar because they did not have a 7-seater option in the Creta, but they still wanted an SUV, but now that they do, that you might lose some of those numbers to the Alcazar?
So frankly, Bert, how we see it, and based on our market research, we feel that a strong market really exists for a 3-row vehicle, with a 6 and 7-seater combination. Because frankly speaking, and especially post-COVID, the need for traveling together with family has only gone up. And also when you're looking at lifestyle, you really want to go for a vacation, because earlier people would go probably in a car at best 200 kilometers, generally for a, if you want to go to a resort. But now people are really looking at maybe 400, 500 kilometers to travel. They have sometimes luggage. Maybe they're going for skiing. They want to carry the skiing equipment, or for golf. My point is that they are looking for versatility. They are looking for traveling together. They're really looking for premium features. So definitely a market exists. At the same time, we have sold about 600,000 plus Cretas in the market. So there would be customers who would want to upgrade now, and Alcazar would provide them with a good choice. Then there are customers who are probably not Hyundai customers as of now, but now they're looking at Hyundai with a lot of interest, especially since we became the number one SUV maker in the country. I think there's an opportunity there as well to cater to those customers and to bring them into the HMI stable. So yes, even if some little bit of cannibalization happens, I think we are very happy with it, because the total numbers are surely going to go up, and this is really going to bring in some very new customers to the Hyundai stable, which will be very good for the future of Hyundai Motor India.
Of course, we definitely will see the market share increase. That at least will grow quite considerably for that matter. So that's a great thing. There's another query. Why the name Alcazar? What was the thought process behind that? How did you all kind of look onto this name?
Look, basically Alcazar is inspired by the royal palaces, if you see in Spain, and you can see the car is royal. If you saw the launch today, we have tried to bring in that royalty, because this customer actually does not deserve anything less. We right from the name to the product to the features, we have tried to bring in that kind of royalty into everything, and we have received some very, very good response from the customers. They really like this kind of a name, and when they saw the launch, frankly, the kind of feedback we are receiving is, yes, actually the product, the name, the launch, the pricing, the features, everything is in sync. So I think it's a end-to-end kind of an experience which we are trying to give to the customer.
Tarun, also tell me at this point, this question comes from me, of course, and there is a fair amount. There are several models that you now got in the market. You're also coming out with another product later on this year. I'll come to that question a little later. But how are you managing production at this point in time? We do know there is a semiconductor shortage. There are production challenges for that matter. Pandemic also came in, and with the lockdowns, there were other challenges that took place in Hyundai also. How are you managing production? Do you foresee any delays, or are you well equipped to manage all of that and ensure customers get their deliveries on time?
So, but semiconductor, of course, is a global issue. It is not limited to Hyundai or India. So we are also a part of the same ecosystem. At the same time, I would say, I think we have really got some very good support, not only from our headquarters, but from our procurement team as well. Also, the demand is also slowly coming back. If you see the demand in June, probably it will be 75% of the normal market. Maybe July, August, we can really come closer to 100%. So as demand is going up, the production also keeps on going up, and I think we should be able to really manage the demand quite well. As of now, we have conveyed a waiting period of 4 to 8 weeks for the Alcazar, and going forward, we like to see that we are able to manage it very well. The other thing is we are really communicating with the customers on a very regular basis, so that they are they are engaged, and they know that the car is on the way. And so I think, frankly speaking, to summarize, I would say, as sales and marketing head, I would say I'm really, really thankful to procurement and production for managing this quite well so far. And I'm very hopeful that they will continue to do so in the coming months. And we should be able to supply increase the supplies. And frankly, even if you look at the numbers, so while sometimes people say that, okay, the Creta has a backlog, but if you see the numbers, I mean, we are doing 10, 11, 12,000 Cretas now, as compared to 6.5, 7,000, which we used to do 2 years back. We are doing 9, 10,000 Venue, as compared to 6,000, which we used to do when Venue was launched. So the numbers have gone up. That means supply is really increased. It is only that the demand continues to go up, which is, of course, a good problem to have. But we are trying to catch up. And hopefully, like I said, we should be able to reduce this gap between demand and supply in the coming months.
I'll take a final question for you, Tarun. This was interesting also because what's the plan? What are Hyundai's plans for the turbo petrol with the DCT? powertrain and transmission, the engine and transmission options for the future as well. What more can we see from this?
So look, but Hyundai has always looked at really giving the customers latest technology, also so many options. I mean, across our products, and I think whether you see the fuel type, transmissions, we have 5 different types of automatics, the petrol, diesel, turbo, CNG, electric. I think we want to be really giving that option to any mobility, a customer in the country. And I think this strategy seems to have worked. India is a very big country with a low car penetration, and different states behaving in a different way. Like there are states like Punjab, Andhra, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, where diesel seems to do very well. There are places like Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, Northeast, where petrol seems to do very well. There are markets like Pune, Mumbai, Gujarat, where CNG seems to do very well. There are markets like Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, where turbo also seems to do very well. So my point is, I think in turbo is a very, very strong product offering to the Indian customers. We see the volumes continuously going up, and we are quite hopeful that as and when more and more OEMs keep on adopting the turbo and introducing it in the market, the volumes will further go up and really provide a very, very good option to the customer in terms of, especially who are really looking at a much better power in a smaller engine. So I think it's a very good options which Hyundai has been able to provide, thanks to again our parent HMC, and really this helps us to cater to a large chunk of customers.
So, Tarun, tell me, what's next now? What are we expecting later on in the year? I did mention that earlier, but let's hear it from you as well. What's the next big plan? From what I know, it's very exciting. So, do you want to talk about that as well?
But look, in terms of products, we've already launched some 11, 12 products in the last 2 years. You would have seen. I think you cannot complain on that front as well.
No, absolutely. No complaints
So,
whatsoever.
so we strongly believe that yes, this is a great way to excite the market. So we'll continuously, seek ways to enhance the customer experience. India is a very, very important market. We're always studying the market to see what kind of features we can bring which are specific to the Indian market. I think that is the key. We fully understand that just bringing the global products here, sometimes may not work. So you have to really look at the local conditions. You have to really focus on the Indian market. I think that has been the success of Hyundai so far, and that is what we'll continue to do in the future, because we fully understand India is very different. The Indian customers are very different. Their expectations are different. So we will continuously be engaged with the customers, learn from them, see their demands, and not only in terms of product. Rest assured, technologies, customer experience, a different kind of automatics, new products. I mean, we will keep on, maintaining this tempo which we have built over the past 25 years.
Well, Tarun, thank you. And to close on a note, well, congratulations to Hyundai as well. This is your 25th year in India. So it's been a glorious 25 years for that matter. And we wish you all the best. And I'm sure in sometime in the future when we can meet up again and things are a little easier on all of us health-wise, we can catch up and, of course, have these discussions in person. Until then, see you till the next time. And I hope that is very soon.
Thank you, Bert. Really, I'm also wanting to really meet in person. And thank you to all the viewers of Overdrive. Thank you for supporting us. And we assure you that we'll keep the Hyundai Motor India flag flying high in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. All right, guys. So I guess Tarun did answer quite a few of the questions, though he was a little, how would I say it, wasn't exactly talking about the forthcoming products, but what we do know is that there is some excitement and of the more dynamic variety that's coming out into the market. So keep your eyes peeled to overdrive.in, where we'll have all of that information for you, or on our social media feeds as well. You can follow us there, and you can also, of course, follow Hyundai's channel as well, and there will be more news, more information forthcoming very, very soon. All right, and to get back to the show, I don't see Sohini right now. There she is. And I don't see Rohit either, but there he is.
We're back.
We're back. All right, lots of questions coming in. Lots of questions. Sohini, we can't hear you. You're on mute. No?
Right, I'm saying we had a lot of other questions as well. Is the end line of
Well, again, I've lost audio. Sorry, but I've lost audio. Sorry, guys, but today network's absolutely sketchy. I've been having this problem the whole day. And apologies again if there are issues right now. Rohit's audio keeps cutting off. Sony's cuts off. My screen, of course, freezes. My feed freezes for some reason or the other. Lots of technical glitches. As we go into the Faraday future, the Teslas of the world, we seem to have more and more issues.
We would have thought 2 years into the pandemic, at least the internet would have sorted itself out. But no, we're still where we started off from.
Everything shorts out at some time or other.
Good. We also had questions about whether the N line of cars is coming to India. So just wanted to know.
Well, yes, the N line of cars is going to come to India. Of course, not the entire N line of cars, but you will see some information coming up on that future. But one of the next few lines of products or other, and we've already talked about this in the past as well. Hyundai also has mentioned this and would have forgotten it, but yes, they are doing something in terms of the N line for the Indian market. So, well, fingers crossed. Let's see. Let's hope that is as exciting as we expect it to be.
It might be too early to ask this question, but Amit Garg wants to know that which is a more compelling car between the Alcazar Hector Plus and the Tata Safari?
Amit, this is a little too early to be honest for this because we haven't tested the Alcazar as yet. We will be driving it very, very shortly. And that is just following week. Of course, there's an embargo on that story, so we can't give you that opinion later on. But we are driving the Alcazar shortly. We will have a better opinion about it once we've driven that car and understood everything there is about it. But having said that, let me also say that these are three of the best options, or the only option that you have where 7-seat SUVs are concerned. I'm not going to give an opinion at this point in time. I think I should just reserve it when I drive the Alcazar and probably do a comparison test. We always need to identify which of these is the best.
We also have a question from Arun. He says, do you think this is the right time to launch this product? He's talking about the Alcazar.
You think this is the right time to launch this product? Absolutely. There's never a good time to launch. There's never a good time like the present to launch 7-seater SUV. So yes, it is a good time. Don't be concerned. Yes, the pandemic is on. People still have concerns, but people also require vehicles at this point in time. People are in Bombay. I come from Bombay, and here, people are scared to use public transport at this point in time and prefer using their own vehicles. And if you're going to be making such a large purchase, you might as well do something. And a lot of families in India, constantly living with as extended families with our parents or with larger families, more than 4 members in that family. So yes, it's necessary to have for a lot of people to have a 7-seater SUV or a MPV. And while MPVs aren't the rage right now, the interest in that is diminishing. There definitely is an interest growing in 7-seater SUVs. So this is what the Alcazar will fulfill, and I do believe that there will be takers on this. We'll know shortly just how many actually. Now, Tarun Garg says they've got some 3,000 odd bookings for the Alcazar, which is quite interesting to know that it's in that short period they generated that amount of interest. But let's see how this goes ahead in the future. 3,000 is still not a great number. There are now better numbers in the past with some of their other products. So let's see just what kind of build-up this SUV has in the near future.
Right, we have a question here from Janesh. He says, sorry, did someone else speak?
No.
Okay, here's a question from Janesh. With 90% of the usage in the city, which automatic compact SUV is better, the Sonet, the XUV 300 or the Tata Nexon?
Do you want to take this? We lost you?
To such an extent, he doesn't want to take it. He has disappeared, but...
All right, which is whether the Sonet HTX, the XUV 300 or the Tata Nexon, is Sonet a reasonably safe car? They're all reasonably safe cars, let me tell you this. If they were all to go for, a lot of global NCAP reports are reports that a manufacturer has to invest in and decide whether he wants to get that rating or not. That's not to belittle the fact whether the any of the products that haven't received a global NCAP rating aren't safe. All these are perfectly safe. They all offer you similar levels of safety features. They all offer you airbags, ABS, ESP in certain cases as well. They've all got structural, crash structures that will deform, absorb energy, and dissipate it without actually affecting the occupants. Yes, global NCAP's results, we don't know what they are, and until and unless Kia decides to go in for that, I mean, global NCAP is free to also pick up a car from the market and, of course, test that and give us the results of what that variant or whatever variant test is like. But largely, most of these cars fall more or less in the same bracket where safety is concerned. And which automatic mini SUV is better to answer that? I think the Sonnet is one of the better ones in this, probably the best amongst this range when the XUV and the Tata Nexon is concerned. You can head down to overdrive.in and look for the mega SUV comparison that we did 2 years, that we were only able to do 2 years ago, that's 2019, before the lockdowns locked us out of a lot of these comparison tests. But we've got a mega SUV test, and you'll know where the Sonnet stands vis-a-vis some of the other SUVs in the segment. But having said that, I think it's time for us to now do another mega SUV entry level, a compact SUV kind of comparison shootout feature. And we will look at that. I'm just waiting for a few of the restrictions to lift off entirely, and when it is a little safe for us to travel out. The last time we did, of course, we just saw chaos around the country because there's just 2 people out, and we're expecting a third wave right now. So I'm not entirely sure how and where we're going to go and do this story, but we will figure out something very, very soon.
Alright, Rohit, since you only seem to want to answer these luxury car questions, there's one here for you. Please don't disappear. Richard wants to know, considering the Mercedes-AMG GLS is pretty souped up, is the Maybach GLS really worth the additional 30%? The GLS AMG 63 is already very expensive.
Well, it's all down to luxury. It's all down to what you want to, really advertise. And when we are talking luxury, when we are talking premium, you really can't think about practicality all that much. And this is, in a way, a practical question that, if the GLS is so well spec, do I need a Maybach? Because it's not about the need, after a certain point. It's all about what you want. And this is where, luxury cars like the Maybach are going to keep pushing the envelope to keep teasing you with, the options, with what is possible, and to make you spend that kind of money to, in a way, advertise your wealth. Just like what I said in my review, that the Maybach is not just a vehicle, it's also a rolling advertisement of your wealth and celebrity status. And, looking at the number of GLSs out on the road, the Maybach certainly is a lot more exclusive. And if you want that kind of exclusivity, well, you have to stretch and get yourself that kind of a vehicle. Now, the GLS 63 or any AMG for that matter, we are talking about a completely different ball game. There, you're not really talking about what material has gone onto the seats, or how the stitching is, or what are the color of the seat belts. These are just, these are just the peripherals. With the AMG, you're essentially talking about performance. You're talking about the engine. Of course, the Maybach also has an AMG engine in it. It's an AMG-made V8 at the end of the day, but it's not, what AMG stands for. It has been tuned to put out power in the way that is right for Maybach. But when you're talking about AMG, it's a completely different ball game. You're talking about lap times there. You're talking about handling characteristics. You're talking about the whole emotional feel of how the engine, how the powertrain, how the chassis makes you feel, right? So that's completely different. But I think the bottom line is, yes, it's all down to what the vehicle makes you feel, whether you're buying a Maybach or an AMG or the pure GLS. It's about what you connect with. It's about what the vehicle makes you feel, and then what do you want to advertise to people who are looking at you while you're getting out of that vehicle. So depending on where your priority lies within all of this, you have to make your buying decision accordingly. So it's not really a practical question of, if I'm getting this, do I really need that? It's not about need, it's about want.
All right, we have an interesting question here from Omkar. He wants to know, can we expect a plug-in hybrid EV cars like the 330e or the XC40 Superb? Will they be coming to India, say, next year?
Well, Omkar, very difficult to say. Interesting question, very difficult to say. But the way it is right now, this point is skewed down the middle, because there are certain manufacturers who have now introduced hybrids as well, and there are certain manufacturers who are more proactive towards electric vehicles are now also saying that the hybrids probably make a little more sense, and they're also investing in this. There are also some manufacturers who now gone beyond hybrids and looking at hydrogen as a viable option for that matter. I mean, BMW, for instance, has just said that they will be doing something by next year with the hydrogen fuel cell car. So things like this are constantly happening. Now, will there be a plug-in hybrid from BMW? or Volvo or probably Mercedes here in India at this point in time, I don't think they will look at, they're not going to invest in that because it really doesn't make sense. They're able to meet water emission and fuel efficiency norms that they have to with just the regular standard ICE engines. And would they need a PHEV to do that, to substantiate or to fulfill a requirement or a need? Not at this point in time. So a lot of effort is now from the manufacturer's side is going towards making EVs and of course hydrogen fuel cells for that matter. So we will see more action in that space, but not so much in the hybrids. Now, on the other hand, we've got other manufacturers like Toyota who strongly still believe that there is a market, and I do believe that there is a market, of course, because still electric vehicles reach mass, a critical mass. Hybrids are a solution to getting you better efficiency, more power for that matter, as well as keeping your carbon footprint low. So there is that stopgap as well, but it is a stopgap. Hybrids are a stopgap, maybe for the next decade also that they will exist. They will be in play. And Toyota is certainly seeing that there are benefits to the hybrid part of it as well. So there are certain manufacturers investing in it. There are certain manufacturers who moved away from it. But this is how it is where the global industry, automotive industry is concerned. Now, can we see these cars coming down to India? I don't think they will introduce the hybrid versions of these cars in India.
Alright, guys, you keep your questions coming. We'll just quickly run you through the news from this week. The newly updated Range Rover Velar has launched an new Ingenium diesel engine and two petrol powertrains, 79.87 lakh rupees. Visually, the SUV looks similar to the outgoing model, except for the updated alloy wheels and bronze inserts on the bumpers, fenders, and bonnet. There's a new steering wheel with capacitive controls and JLR's new and advanced PV Pro infotainment system. Coming to the new updated 2-liter Ingenium diesel engine, it dishes out 204 PS and 430 Newton meters of torque. The petrol and diesel variants are mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox and standard all-wheel drive. Up next, the best car in the world has now come to India in its latest iteration. I'm talking about the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and the 150 units allocated for India already sold out. Still, I'll go ahead and tell you the diesel S-Class is priced at 2.17 crore rupees and the petrol variant is priced at 2.19 crore rupees. The launch edition S-Class launched yesterday comes fully loaded with the latest new age tech and features seen in the global markets. Notable features are rear axis steering, latest generation MBUX infotainment system that also boasts of personal biometrics. The front seats feature 19 motors to offer you the perfect seating and 10 different massage programs to keep you relaxed. The S-Class is also the world's first car to offer a frontal airbag for rear seat passengers and packs in many active and passive safety features to ensure an accident-free driving experience. Powering the all-new Mercedes-Benz S-Class is the split petrol and diesel engine options. CKD models are expected to go on sale soon and will be offered with only rear-wheel drive without rear axle steering. Over to you, Rohit. I believe you have another spy video for us this week.
Yes, we do. So that is the Kushaq. The Kushaq, of course, is expected next week. June 28th is the launch date. It has been officially announced. And a little while back, we just posted a video on Overdrive about what its communication shade of honey orange looks like in the real world. So if you haven't seen it already, definitely do take a look. You have it on the screen here, and you can watch the full version on the overdrive.in website. Now, as we revealed on Overdrive earlier this week, there'll be 3 trim levels that will be available with the Kushaq. There's the Active, which is at the base. There's the mid-level Ambition, and then there's the range-topping Style variant. Now, the 1.5, the 150 PS 1.5 liter engine is only going to be available in the Style variant, is what we hear so far. Whereas the 1 liter will be available in all 3, that is the Active, Ambition, and the Style. Now, the Style is obviously going to get you some of the best features like the 6-speaker audio unit, the auto dimming inside rear view mirror, keyless entry and go, ventilated front seats, ambient lighting, an electric sunroof, and that 10-inch infotainment screen. The lower end variants, the Active and the Ambition, are expected to get a smaller screen. However, there is going to be connected technologies also, but that's only going to be restricted to the 10-inch system that will be available on the range-topping Style variant. So that's the communication shade for you. And just for reference, that is the communication shade of the Tygoon in that mustard yellow that they have, and both looking very different from each other. Both have very different styling cues, despite sharing the platform, despite sharing all the underpinnings. So a very welcome change compared to what we've seen between the Rapid and the Vento. And going by the kind of excitement it stirred up, there are quite a few of you waiting to know a lot more about these two vehicles. Now, the Kushaq is something that we are going to be driving next week. So use the hashtag AskOD and shoot your questions through to us on all our social media platforms. And we will put them all together and we'll try to answer them when we review the product next week. And hopefully next Friday, we should be able to discuss the Kushaq as well. But that depends on the embargo that we'll be signing when we drive the car. There is one more bit of small scoop that we have. This time it comes from Porsche. Now, Porsche yesterday revealed a film about a new Cayenne model that has set the record for the fastest SUV to lap the Nürburgring Notch Live. That's a northern loop of the Nürburgring, a treacherous circuit, but one that is the favorite of all sports car makers out there. The lap record here means a lot to these brands, because it says a lot about the capability of the product. And this is now the world's fastest SUV around the Nürburgring. They haven't named the car yet, but from whatever we have gathered, it is the Cayenne Turbo GT Coupe. It sits above the Turbo, it sits above the SE Hybrid, and it's expected to put out 600 PS of power. Now, you are seeing the RSQ8 on the screen as well, because that was the vehicle that held the record for being the fastest SUV around the Nürburgring, but now it is this. It's hit a record of 7 minutes 38.925, and let me tell you, that is blisteringly quick for a performance SUV. To put things into perspective, something like a BMW M5, the current generation one, the BMW M5 CS, has done it in about 7 minutes 29. So we are looking at just a little over that when we are talking about 7:38 for a circuit that's this long. And I think this is going to be called the Turbo GT Coupe, like I said. So this is the coupe variant of the Cayenne, and it's expected to put out over 600 PS of power. And Porsche also hints that 0 to 100 will rival the new 911 GT3. So that's some blisteringly quick performance. It's also likely to be called the Turbo GT5, the Cayenne Turbo GT5 Coupe. But this is something that we'll know in a few weeks from now. But as of now, yes, the top honors for the Nürburgring lap record for the world's fastest SUV go to this particular vehicle. So, Sohini, are we going back to you, or am I continuing with the motorcycle news as well?
No, you can go ahead with the motorcycle news.
Okay, so let's start off with the motorcycle news. Now, the first one is the BMW S1000R, the naked version of the S1000RR that has been launched into the market now. It has been priced between 17.9 lakh rupees to 22.5 lakh rupees, ex-showroom, of course. It has 3 trims to choose from: Standard, Pro, and Pro M Sport. It gets the same 999cc inline 4 engine as the S1000RR, but for the street application, it puts out a humble 167 PS of power and 114 Newton meters of torque. It's got a 6-speed gearbox, of course. It's also got the 6.5 TFT display. But the main deal is the new design. Gone is that asymmetrical design that we had on the previous S1000RR. This one is more like the G310R or the F900R. It's in that same family, of course. So it looks a lot more docile now, but from the visuals, it's clear that it's still a hooligan. It's still got that massive heart, putting out that power and, in an exciting way. It goes up against the Kawasaki ZH2, the Street Fighter V4, and also the likes of the Speed Triple, the new Speed Triple 1200 that was recently launched in the Indian market. So, of course, the power figures are much lower than any of these competitors, but I think it's still going to be one hooligan to ride, especially after riding the F900R. I'm very sure that the S1000R is just going to be manic. And we're waiting to get our hands on this motorcycle. We hope that it happens soon, and we hope that the weather agrees with us and it doesn't rain the way it is right now, so that we can have some fun with this motorcycle. Now, the next bit of news that we have is a motorcycle that you can actually enjoy in weather like this if you really love touring. And that is the massive, the king of it all, the Honda Goldwing. So the Goldwing is back. It was absent from the Indian market for a brief period, but it's back now. The Goldwing Tour has been launched in the country for 37.2 lakh rupees. It's available with a manual transmission if you're willing to ride a white color motorcycle, or available with a DCT if you're falling for that beautiful all black scheme Unfortunately, we don't have visuals of the all black here, but the all black really looks good because even the engine is completely blacked out. I think it looks beautiful, and that's the motorcycle that has been launched in the country. Like I said, two colors to choose from. It's powered by the 1833cc flat 6 engine. It puts out 126 PS of power, 170 Newton meters of torque, and it's got all the electronics that you can think of, including that beautiful dash, which also pairs with your iPhone for Apple CarPlay, so you can have your navigation on the screen just like you have it in a car. There are different ride modes as well. There's Tour, Sport, Economy, and Rain. Now, the bookings have now opened at the Honda Big Wing dealerships. I just told you the price. It's 13.2 lakh rupees ex-showroom. And if you're interested in this vehicle, again, it's going to be available in limited quantities. So speak to your Honda dealer and get your booking done ASAP because there are going to be limited quantities. It comes in limited batches every now and then. And the next bit of news is the FAME 2 initiative, which has now awarded even more incentives for people who would want to get electric two-wheelers. So the subsidy rate has essentially gone up to rupees 15,000 per kilowatt hour with a cap of up to 40% of the cost of the EV. Now, a lot of this has led to a lot of price cuts across the EV two-wheeler space. For example, Ather, there is a price reduction of about 14,500 rupees. That is quite a bit because the cost now is at about 1,25,000 to 1,44,000. There you have the cost, the prices on the screen. So the reduction is about 14,500 rupees now. You also have reduction announced by Okinawa. Okinawa is giving you anywhere between 7,000 to 17,800 rupees, depending on the model you choose, whether it's the Rich Plus, which has the least savings, or the iPraise Plus, which is the top of the line, that gives you about 17,800 rupees worth of savings. So the cost has now come under a lakh if you want an Okinawa scooter. There's also the Revolt, the RV400, of course. So the earlier price was 1,18,000. Now it's come down to 90,799. And the interesting fact to go with this is they had opened up bookings again for the next lot of the RV400s. And those bikes were sold out in a mere 2 hours. So that goes to say that people have been waiting to get themselves EV motorcycles as well. And Revolt right now is enjoying that space without much competition from anyone. And now with that new price tag, the bike getting sold out in 2 hours it's not a surprise at all. And finally, TVS, the iQube, even that has seen a price cut. It's gone down from 1,12,000 rupees to 1,777. That's a reduction of about 11,250 rupees. So that's also touching the 1 lakh rupee mark, just about it. So we are waiting to ride this scooter, but our initial impressions are up on overdrive.in, and we are pretty impressed with this scooter. But we are waiting to put some miles on the scooter and really see how practical it is. But yeah, there you have it. If you've been waiting to get yourself an electric two-wheeler, right now would be a good time because there are some serious savings to be made. Well, that's it from the two-wheeler news. Back to you, Sohini.
But is there anything you would like to add regarding the news that we went through? In fact, even the S-Class being sold out completely. Is there anything that you would like to add? You're on mute, Bert.
Bert is speechless. Bert is speechless.
I'm speechless, or is there a rant that you guys are looking out for? But I don't have one this week. I'm just exhausted this week. Absolutely exhausted. It's been a very busy week. Lots of stuff happening again with the lockdowns, the restrictions being lifted off. Lots of vehicles are now available. Next week, like some of the other guys have pointed out, we're going to be driving the Alcazar. We're going to be driving the Kushaq. That's coming in. So again, it's going to be another busy week. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. There are lots of new products coming out of the market. We've also got the S-Class lined up sometime soon. So all of these will be coming out in rapid succession. And things are going to get back. We're going to get back into the groove of driving these new cars and getting all these reviews and comparisons. I'm just looking forward to driving the Isuzu D-Max at this point in time and taking it off on a jaunt again into the Himalayas. So I'm going to go and work on my strategy of how to get to Ladakh while you guys say your goodbyes.
All right, we'll just take a couple of more questions. Aniket wants to know, are there any chances that hatchbacks like the Volkswagen ID3, Mini Electric, Honda E available in international markets? Will they be coming to India?
Well,
Well,
Aniket, they
Aniket,
will come down to India. Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead. Rohit.
Right. Yeah, there is every chance that they will come down to India because all these manufacturers are looking at that electric space, very actively. Keep in mind that Audi is already, coming out with the e-tron. Mercedes is already here with the EQC, and the EQA is also confirmed. They are going to bring that to India. They told us that when we drove the EQC that all their EQ lineup will be available in the Indian market. Now, Mini being a part of the BMW group, they are also actively looking. Remember, BMW was one of the first movers in this segment when they also got us the i8. So they have been looking at the sustainable mobility segment quite actively, and they could be looking at the mini electric as well. I think what BMW right now is focusing their strategies on in terms of mini is to get the pricing right, because somewhere that pricing strategy is not working for them the way they would have liked it to. So once they have that in place, the electrics should follow, is what I think. Honda E, well, I don't know, but Honda is very actively looking at the electric space. Would that be that cute looking electric car that's going to come down to India? Will people buy a small car of that order at that kind of price? I'm not very sure. Neither is Honda, so we don't know yet if they would want to bring that. But Honda is certainly looking at the electric space. Honda is also looking at the fuel cell electric vehicle space very actively for the Indian market. So yes, there is something that is cooking at Honda as well. So I think whatever you have mentioned here may not be these models, but maybe the next generation models. We don't know, but something is certainly cooking for all these manufacturers, and they're very actively looking at this space, even for the Indian market.
All right. Here's a question from Big Bang. He says he knows it's not a debate on the Indian economy post-pandemic, but if Mercedes says sales went up 40% in the pandemic, do you think our Indian brands can keep up?
Big Bang, I don't know what you're intending to say out here, because there isn't any Indian brand that is in the same luxury space, for that matter, or can even compete with the Mercedes Benzes, the Audis, the BMWs, or the Jaguar Land Rovers of the world. So that is still fairly far away. That position, that upmarket position for a lot of Indian brands is still fairly far away. So I'm not entirely sure what you getting at over here. But having said that, yes, there is definitely a market for a lot of owners who want premium luxury vehicles, and that's one of the reasons why sales in that segment are really going up. Keep in mind, as we will also see numbers boosting up for mass market models as well. We just haven't reached that stage yet. Whereas in the luxury spaces, this boost you definitely see, because there is a demand, and the demand, while it is not huge numbers. I mean, keep in mind it's just 50 GLS Maybachs or 150 S classes. That's not as large a number as compared to what a Maruti will come out with, a next product, or Hyundai will come out with the next product. I mean, Alcazar, just take an example, 3,000 units already booked. So you see the relation, you see the difference over here. You will see that kind of growth coming in from Indian brands as well. You just have to wait for a little while longer, because this happens over a period of time. Also, the numbers will be used, the numbers will come back to what they used to be, and in the entire period, you will see some of these big, huge percentages being thrown up, but that will stabilize over a period of time, and then you will see, of course, probably the single-digit growth numbers coming in from various manufacturers in the mass market models.
All right, I think that's about it. What do we have winners for this week's show?
Yes, we do. Of course, there are two of our viewers today whom I'm pleased to announce have won a year's subscription to Overdrive's digital issue. And this is Omkar Gosavi, who asked the question about when can we expect PHEV cars like the 330e, XC40 plug-in hybrid, or the Superb for that matter. When can we expect them to come to India? And Ankit Nema, who asked me a question about how do I see EV infrastructure developing in India. For these two guys, congratulations to you guys, and I hope you get your issue soon. Just drop us an email at digitalshow@overdrive.co.in, and we will respond back. We'll take your details and, of course, send the subscriptions, get you onto that subscription list as soon as possible. That's it from us, guys, for this weekend, and don't forget to tune in to the Overdrive show on CNBC TV 18 tomorrow. Sony will give you the timings for that, and then we will catch up again next week, next weekend rather, Friday 6 p.m. for the Overdrive Digital Show.
Yeah, Omkar, Ankit, I'm sorry if I got your names or the spellings wrong. I was just trying hard to write that down as well. But do send us an email on digitalshow@overdrive.co.in. Let's just quickly take a look at what we have on the show tomorrow on television. So we have the longer review of the Maybach GLS 600, and we also have the review of the Jaguar I-Pace, the all-electric car from Jaguar. So don't miss the show tomorrow at 1 p.m. on CNBC TV 18, and you can also catch the repeat on Sunday at 12:30 or 8 p.m. So we'll see you next week then. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for watching, and do send us your queries. Keep posting them, and see you next Friday. Bye bye for now.